You owe Matt 50 cents for that.
Welcome to the Hit or Miss podcast. Yes, I was going to say Guns and Geeks podcast, but that's Matt's show. So if you didn't watch it yesterday, go back and watch it. But finish watching Hit or Miss first.
Please.
But, welcome. I'm Night Strike, as always. I want to introduce my panelists tonight. HVS may or may not be attending because he had to go on a sushi run and he's updating his computer. So Lord knows how long that'll take with his internet.
Well, we're all eating sushi tonight, then.
Yeah. All right, so I'm just going to go in order. Heavy B, what's up?
Not much. Reporting from behind enemy lines.
Yeah, we need to build a wall around California.
No! No, you bastards. Wait till you get me out first.
Well, we'll airlift you out first, okay? All right, and then we got Never Enough Ammo. Matt, what's up?
What's up? It's one great, wonderful Tuesday. You gotta love it when some jackass steals your credit card or your debit card number and you get screwed out of being handed a whole your bank account. It's wonderful, isn't it? God bless America. Anyway, let's keep going.
I think you got your bandwidth stolen, too.
Your bandwidth is being stolen, too. Tell your kids to get off the Xbox or the PS4.
Oh, I thought he was just trying to be Kanye West.
I don't think he does the whole auto-tune thing. And then we've got Nathan from sheepdogleather.com. If you need a good holster, go to sheepdogleather.com.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to share with everyone that I kind of worked out today. I went to Kohl's and bought 3 pair of athletic shorts and tried them on.
I'm not sure that qualifies. Oh, wow, that's hilarious. And then last but definitely not least, Sean Ponery. What's up, man?
I am the only other person eating sushi, drinking beer, and I'm ready to pick a fight.
Well, you're going to get that chance.
Oh, okay.
All right, so tonight I have no idea what I wanted to do for a topic. You know, Matt was saying I should do Q&A, but I don't really have a Q&A email. I kind of lost it. You know, I just have the regular Night Strike email, but... And it's on the Hit or Miss page if you guys want to send us questions to answer or whatnot.
Let's talk about liberals who don't even know their own rules of their own national conventions.
All right, well...
Like, I brushed on it earlier, but I can summarize it quickly.
Yes, let's summarize it quickly, but if you have any questions, send them to nightstrike@gmail.com, and that's Nightstrike with a Y instead of an I. Okay? Okay.
The nice one.
I have both of them, so it doesn't matter.
I think he's being hacked by El Chapo.
No,
Do some other stuff at the same time.
It's El Hapo or something like that?
El Guapo.
El Guapo, that's what it is. El
There
Guapo.
you go.
And all right, Sean, I'm going to kick it off to you. What were we talking about?
I have a plethora of piñatas.
Dos piñatas. Dos. All right, Sean, go for it.
So I keep getting into this, like, Facebook dick measuring contest with this guy who I used to do online gaming with for years. And up until just recently, he's been posting clickbait ads because he's a flaming liberal. And I did not know this until a couple of weeks ago. And every time he posts, you know, I keep telling him, I'm like, look, why do you keep backing a 74-year-old socialist curmudgeon who keeps promising free stuff, but he never answers the question of who's going to pay for all this? And then he goes back screaming about how the 1% is screwing the rest of us, and he's blaming everything on the rich and everything on Bush. So, you know, I just keep telling him that his political convictions are weaker than wet toilet paper because he doesn't seem to understand that he doesn't understand the rules of the Democratic National Convention. He's a Bernie Sanders supporter, and yet he's already rolled over and said he will support the Hitlery, only because the superdelegates have been pushed over to her side because they took exit polls and they said, hey, I'll support the nominee, I'll support Hillary, whatever, without knowing that the superdelegates are non-committal up until the actual convention in Philadelphia, which means what happens between today to the Philadelphia National Convention for Democrats, every single superdelegate can turn an about-face and flip her off, tell her to take her adulterous, enabling, cankles country elsewhere, and support Bernie, and he would win by a landslide. And I told him, because he didn't even know the rules, and he bent over and took it like a bitch, that anything he says at this point has absolutely no weight. Any opinion he has is useless, because if you don't even know the rules of your own party, how dare you judge the other side? So I had to pretty much give him an education on his own party. And I think that's what's crazy about arguing politics with liberals, because half your flaming liberals are emotional, outbursting douchebags who don't even realize their own system. Not only do you have to explain your system and the third-party system, but you have to educate them on their own system before they even understand how it works. It took a libertarian in my own Facebook feed to help educate this guy, who brought an example of a Democratic mayoral runoff race in my own city to get him to shut up. I was like, this guy just pointed out voter inequality in a Houston mayoral election runoff race that was rigged, where they bust in people from all over the city just to put in their vote. And I'm like, and the funny thing is the guy that just pointed this out to you hasn't lived in this city for 10 years, and even he knew about it. And you're going to tell me about voter inequality.
Wow.
This is what I deal with on a daily basis.
Well, most of the people I know on Facebook don't bother me about that stuff, because I have my Facebook set to private to people that I know. I don't add people I don't know on my Facebook. Well, I mean know in person.
Same, exactly. I didn't know that this was their political leanings. It was shocking to me.
And most of my friends and family know not to give me anti-gun crap because, yeah, they know me.
I mean, this is a guy who's like 45 years old. He lives with 4 people, right? He's constantly blaming everything on the rich. I mean, everything. It's all the rich people's fault. The 1% is ruling the 99%. And, you know, he's drinking the Bernie liberal Kool-Aid. And I'm like, how can you support a guy who hasn't drawn a paycheck until he was 40 years old? I'm like, you're 44 years old. Tell me that society would accept you if you've only been drawing a paycheck for 4 years and you're running for the highest office in the nation. I said, you're supporting this idiot. You present him with facts, and he comes back with rhetoric and emotion. And this is what it's like being a conservative or a centrist, you know, or just somebody who's actually understood the process. And then you get accused of being a radical for being educated, when you have to explain even their stance.
I want to just point out something that bugs me, is the fact that we have a person who's a socialist who 30 years ago would have been a joke to run for president. You know, back when we were close to, you know, the fall of the Soviet Union, they never would have considered this guy even a possibility. It had to skip a generation or two. We got Mrs. Clinton, who pretty much, if you look into it, she was using her position to get money and money laundering it through, you know, public corruption, and then money laundering it through her foundation. I mean, it's like ridiculously blatant what she was doing. And the only reason she did it that way is she thinks no one's going to press charges against her.
That family thinks they're invincible.
Yeah, she thinks she's invincible. She might be right. Who knows? But you know, who would have thought 20 years ago we'd have a person running for president who's under investigation by the FBI for doing illegal things, and then on top of that, and would stay in the running and not be kicked out. And then we got Orange-head McDuffie, crazy billionaire,
the Tangerine Terror,
hot mess. And you know, it's like, how did these three people? How is this the cream of the crop? I mean, literally, the biggest turds float to the top of the cesspool at this day and age. How did we get to this situation? What has gone wrong in America that these are the people we are throwing our votes at this time? I mean, it's ridiculous.
The answer to that is simple. Nobody is paying attention. The rug was pulled out from under the feet of the educated consumer and voter. You've got a guy who ran against the Tangerine Terror, or Team Orange, as I like to call it, who was a great senator who fought for Second Amendment rights, who filibustered in Congress for over 30 hours and basically collapsed on the platform in the middle of his filibuster, and was defeated by a slander campaign by people not in the know who knew of his qualifications as a Texas senator. They believed the bullshit that he was a liar. By a liar. So Ted Cruz was knocked out. And then, so that race was just over. Now, to his credit, he defeated 16 other candidates. That cannot be ignored. He ran a great campaign, albeit a little bit illegitimately. You know, he was slanderous, he was lying, but he won it. So that's over. Whereas you have the other side, where it was a two-horse race. And it's been corrupted by the system that was put in place by the last election. Super delegates. Why does one party have to require more than twice as many delegates to make the nomination as the other side that had 17 people running in it and still ended before this race? There's a problem there.
Well,
there
okay,
needs
so
to be some sort of uniform standard, and there's not.
I can tell you this, that the reason Bernie has not dropped out is because he's waiting to see if she gets indicted.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
the only reason he's still in it.
Agree.
Is he's the backup quarterback, and he's waiting to see if she gets hit on the blind side.
Totally agree with you. The thing is not only is he waiting for that, but he knows the rules. Bernie Sanders knows the rules. Superdelegates are non-committal, non-bound until the day of the convention. All the superdelegates that pledged their vote to Hillary mean nothing until that convention. They can all decide at the last second to turn around and say, you know what, James Comey did his job and indicted you. I don't want to be a part of this. I'm switching my vote to Bernie. They can do that right to the last day. James Comey is a man of integrity. He will indict her when he believes he has an airtight case. Once he passes that indictment on, it's down to the district attorney, who was appointed by Obama, who will clearly not prosecute Hillary, and then it becomes a fact of the party's corruption, the nominee, the nominated district attorney not doing her job, but at the cost of everybody at the FBI involved in this, because Comey's a man of conviction. He will resign. The 151 people underneath him will probably resign. They will commit political or career suicide to make a point, and it'll make the entire other side look bad.
Okay, I want to back up here just for a second.
I don't think 150 people under him are willing to give up their careers and their pensions, their families. Comey is in a position he can retire. He's had a long enough career and enough money and government pension. I don't think 150 people under him will resign.
They won't advance, I guess is a good way to put it. They might quietly
that's
just
Comey's
back
call.
away.
They did their job. That's Comey's call. If he's going to bring it out, that's not on them.
Yeah. Now, we touched on this on Saturday, and when we were talking about the Libertarian candidate with on Match Chat.
Jerry Johnson?
Yeah, and Matt, said something. the other day. He said that this election went out. It has run as you had predicted it would. Up to this point, at least. So.
Do you know why Gary Johnson can't win? And it's unfortunate. I would love to see him make more headway. But the reason he won't win is because he will never be allowed on the national stage at a presidential debate with Hillary versus Trump. If he could make that debate, he's a fighting chance. But he has to have 15% of the popular vote in at least 5 states, and he does not have that.
Well,
that's what's tragic about the third party. This third party is too weak to get 5 states with 15% or greater vote, which means that party is irrelevant.
And then there's the fact that the latest on Gary Johnson is he's gone completely. He started to drink the anti-gun Kool-Aid.
Right. So you can't take that party seriously, no matter how long it's been around and how established it is, and how their ideology works. Their lack of logistical organization can't get them 15% in 5 states.
I would say lack of integrity on his part, though.
Well, until
here's the thing. At this point, what you got to look at,
you're not a legitimate contender.
Well, at this point, first of all, is my bandwidth back?
Yes, you're back.
Okay, good.
Good.
Right, that's why I had to mute. Anyway, at this point, the way I look at the Libertarian Party is because Gary Johnson has, for whatever reason, decided that, well, you know what? People who are already hardcore Republicans or whatever, they're going to vote for Trump no matter what. And anybody that was already libertarian-leaning, I have their vote anyway. So the only place left for me to pander is the left. So he starts pandering and kissing ass to the left now. I don't know if it's legit. I don't know if he's always been this way or if it's just this is whose ass I'm going to kiss to get more votes because the left has a bunch of people who are pissed off at their choices as well. I don't know what it is. But at this point, the only purpose I see the Libertarian Party serving is to use this election to basically just to build themselves up, which they're doing pretty successfully. They are managing to build themselves up to a point where, I mean, when major news outlets start talking about Gary Johnson, that's a step in the right direction for any third party. Even if he doesn't end up on the debate stage, it's a huge step from 4 years ago where the Libertarian Party was. Now, I don't like Gary Johnson and the bullshit he's been doing lately, and so I'm not going to vote for his ass. But for the party in general, for a third party to start gathering more and more recognition is a good thing for those of us who believe that the two-party system is just so broken and corrupt. It needs something to shake it up. And if we can continue to build a third party, when the Libertarian Party is the most logical choice because it's the largest of the third parties, the most viable, and even though they're not going to go anywhere this time around, they're not going to get on the debate stage. But if you can build it up enough to where enough people are talking about Gary Johnson, enough people are talking about the Libertarians, that we've advanced this much, in 4 years from the last time around, maybe in another 4 years, they're even bigger if we keep up the momentum. That's where I see the Libertarian Party at this point. It's just again, Gary Johnson, for whatever reason, he decided to go full tard this time around, and so it is what it is, and they're never going to win. You're right. They're not going to get on a debate.
Peterson next time, they'll be good to go.
No,
Yeah,
so he has delegitimized his party. The Libertarian Party has been around a long time. The Tea Party came out of nowhere, and they almost made it in a very, very short amount of time. This is a party that is poorly organized, poorly led. They have no convictions. They don't stand behind one candidate with one solid message. Just like you said, he's pandering.
Yeah,
What happened to a guy who has the balls to stick for what he believes in that's not part of the two establishment system?
Well, again, like I said, it's a joke this time around. But at this point, okay. Look, a year ago, Donald Trump was a joke.
Sure.
He was just a guy there getting attention. He was a reality star that was gaining attention, that was just doing and saying stupid shit to get people in the media to talk about it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that obviously is a tactic that works. So if Gary Johnson wants to go around and do and say ridiculous stuff, or whatever it takes to get the Libertarian Party's attention this time around in the media, I don't care, because they're not going to win anyway. All right, they're not going to win anyway. They're not really going to. At this point, they're not pulling any votes from Republicans that they didn't already have locked in without a Rand Paul or a Ted Cruz being the nominee, right? So that's already done. Any split that they were going to get off from the Republicans, it's done. It's over. I don't know what percentage that's going to be. 5, 10%, whatever the fuck it's going to be, right? So the only thing that they can do now is possibly pull some Democrat votes at this point to go anywhere that they would not otherwise have. I'm all for them doing that and getting more attention and pandering to the left. I don't give a shit if that's what Gary Johnson wants to do, because it's not about values and principles, okay? We're talking about people who give a shit about Donald Trump. It's not about values and principles. None of this shit is. Hillary Clinton is just a fucking pirate in a pantsuit that wants to make money for her and her family and build her legacy. She is a progressive, and she does have Marxist tendencies, but she's more of a fucking money whore than she is anything else, and willing to sell out the country to do it. There is nobody other than Bernie Sanders who has shitty principles that gives two shits about principles in this fucking race. So principles and beliefs is out the fucking window. Okay, as far if anybody wants to say I'm voting for principle, and you're voting for fucking Hillary on one side or Trump on the other, then you're full of shit. You don't have fucking values and principles. You're voting for the lesser of two evils. So that's fun. So I don't give a shit this time around if Gary Johnson wants to be who he fucking maybe he really is. Maybe he really is this left-leaning turd. He's just been floating around in the Libertarian Party for, 8 years now, or however long it's been, and nobody noticed because he was trying to play Mr. Conservative, or maybe he's just pandering. Either way, I don't care. If it gets the Libertarian Party more attention at this point, I'm for it. Why not? Because they're the most viable third party at this point.
I want to take away the definition and the word progressivism away from the Democratic Party, because what they do and what they stand for is not progressivism. What they're doing is the exact opposite. What they do is regressivism, because you listen to conservative people, you listen to Republicans, and you listen to centrists, and they will quote Teddy Roosevelt. You have all heard me quote Teddy Roosevelt. He was the father of progressivism. He wanted to bring about social equality, women's suffrage, Social Security.
Yep.
That is progressivism.
Yep.
What the Democrats have done since FDR has been backwards. It's been regressivism. Get people dependent on the government teat. Get the poor to believe that they'll never get out of being poor, so depend on big government to protect your ass. What they need to be educated on is they are not progressives, and they need to get that word out of their system, and we need to quit using it as a negative label because it's being used inappropriately. Basically, the Democrats have taken that word, lured it into the van with the promise of free candy, touched it inappropriately, and then threatened to expose them. And it's not progressivism. That's regressivism, and they need to be called out for it, and it needs to be nipped in the bud immediately.
Well, progressivism has always been a form of, progressivism is a form of statism, first of all. So either way,
it's about progress. But
no, progressive is how, and I'm going to get shit for this because a lot of people love this fucker. But Teddy Roosevelt was not a good dude. Okay, he was the start of the Progressive Party and all that shit back in the day. All right, he believed in the government taking shit over for the good of the people. All right, he believed the government should come in and take land from the people and should take whatever they felt necessary to preserve shit. That was the beginning of the progressive movement. The fact that the state, federal government, should be able to come in and control things like land and what can or cannot be controlled by the people versus what can or cannot be controlled by the federal government. The idea that we know better than you. Now, by the time it got to FDR, that had greatly evolved into we need to control every fucking aspect of your life, and you need to be dependent on us even more. And then that, of course, has just rolled into what the Democrats are today, which is Marxism for all intents and purposes. Because it all leads to the same thing, just because progressivism, and there's a difference between being a progressive. I mean, I know that the meaning of the word doesn't have a negative meaning, about being progress, but where the progressive movement, when they co-opted that term, they co-opted that term 100 years ago. Okay, it's not something new. It's not something that the Democrats today just held on to. This shit started 100 years ago, and it was some Republicans and it was Democrats. It was both sides. In fact, when it first started, it was more Republicans than it was Democrats that were progressives. But that, by the FDR's time, it was, more Democrats than anything else. But I mean, either way, it's a bad thing. Progressivism,
the only thing that
progressive
FDR
movement is bad, whether you take the original intent of it or whether you take what the Democrats have turned it into. It still falls very much in line with Marxism and this basically the state controlling the people, which is supposed to be what we're against, Maybe, but you're right. They did co-opt a word, but they just co-opted it in a way that was kind of the natural progression of where it was going to head anyway.
No, that's the thing. You see, you just said it. You said statism. That's the thing. What we're trying to fight against is big government, national government. We want to give the rights back to the states. We want to get rid of Common Core. We want the states to handle their own educational standards. We want statism compared to national rule.
I say statism as the general term statism. The state meaning the government.
Right.
The state meaning the government, not necessarily, in the United States.
Fair enough.
State is I'm talking about just the general term of the word statism, where the government, in this meaning the federal government, should control everything, and that's what Teddy Roosevelt was for. And he did it in a way that he was like, "Oh, I'm just trying to preserve wildlife," and everybody was like, "Oh,
that
good.
was after he was out of office, though,
because of Teddy Roosevelt." Well,
that was
Teddy
after.
Roosevelt was a big government guy.
Not at first. That's the thing. Before that, he wasn't. You got to remember, he had 2 successful terms as a Republican president. He was a war hero during the Spanish-American War. This was long before the Industrial Revolution. This was a guy who was way ahead of his time. This is a guy who said that, look, we need to deal with women's suffrage. We need to do a modernization that led into the Industrial Revolution. He thought about, the principles of Social Security, which his great uncle FDR eventually put in by executive order. Which, okay, I'll be fair. The Social Security system is the biggest Ponzi scheme in American history. However, it had good intentions.
It had good intentions. I mean, everything the Democrats do, somebody can say, well, it originally had good intentions. It's still the state controlling the people. It's still statism. It's still
Social Security was created.
It's bigger government.
Social Security was created under a platform that the working class will be replaced by the next generation that will obviously be bigger than the generation before it. So it should always be covered by the growing population.
Social Security was founded on the fact that the people, the working class, are too dumb to save their own money, so the government has to do it for them. That's the problem. Just
to a degree,
let me keep my own money, and if I'm poor when I'm old, then I die poor. Who gives a shit?
Here's the thing, though. Social Security system was bankrupted and corrupted by 5 Democratic presidencies after its induction. No Republican president screwed Social Security. 5 Democratic administrations
nobody's saying anything
publicized it. They politicized it. They tapped into it. They bankrupted it.
I agree. They stole from Social Security, so it might not have died as soon if they wouldn't have taken so much money out of it.
Well, yeah,
but even still, the whole concept of it, I don't like.
But that's not even the point. The whole point is you're talking about a movement which started and it became a movement. I mean, there was other people involved, but it became a movement around the time of Teddy Roosevelt, and he was a big proponent of the progressive movement. And the whole basis for the movement is that the federal government knows better than you do. The whole idea is that we need to tell you, the lowly little people, what to do. And if we see a piece of land we think doesn't need to be in your control because you can't properly take care of it, we're going to take it away from you. If we see that you need to be taken care of when you're older, we're just going to take your money now and save it for you because we don't think you can do it yourself. That ideology is... I'm vehemently opposed to that. Now,
that didn't happen for 40 years from
I
there,
don't
though.
like that ideology.
That didn't actually happen for 40 years since Teddy's induction.
No, I understand that, but it was something that was an idea. It was something he was for. And there are many things that, along that same vein, he was for the government stepping in and taking control, where people like myself and most of us in here would say, no, the government shouldn't be doing that.
But at the time when he was president, there wasn't even 50 states. At the time, There was a national understanding that back then that your government was of the people, for the people, by the people. Okay, that has been twisted and screwed since him. It's not fair to say that it's his fault because
Well, I'm not saying
a
it's
lot
his
of the
fault, but
things,
he was a
a
part
lot
of
of
that
the
movement.
foundation
Right.
principles he came up with was at a much smaller country at a much different time with much more patriotism. And then once his great uncle FDR got in there, a couple of those programs were pushed through by executive order by necessity during a solution for the Great Depression
It's great nephew.
and during a war. So, I mean, I'm going to be honest, okay? I lean right. It's obvious. I think you all know that. I'm centrist with right leanings. However, I will always concede that FDR was probably the last, quote, great Democrat. And I might make a space, just a small space, to say that John F. Kennedy might have been the last decent Democrat because he was the last guy to have the conviction to say, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And he also turned around and he said, we don't do these things because they're easy. We do them because they're hard. Name a single fucking Democrat since him that said anything like that, who actually,
As far as
challenged the people to do something for themselves.
I mean, first of all, JFK in today's world would be a Republican. Okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
He would be
Definitely.
a slightly centrist Republican, but he would still be a Republican today.
Sure.
All right. FDR, I'm not going to defend that asshole. He was a piece of shit. There's a reason why they decided presidents can only run for 2 terms after they got him the fuck out of there. Okay. He was a piece of shit. Granted, he was there during a time of war. We stuck with him, and when it came to that stuff, he made some mistakes and some things he did right. So I'm not going to knock him for that. But as far as his politics, I can't say anything good about FDR.
If it wasn't for him, my grandfather wouldn't have been able to go to
I
college.
can say
so.
that Kennedy was a good president who tried, and all evidence shows he really did care, and he was not trying to just have the federal government control every aspect of our lives. He genuinely wanted us to be a better nation and a nation that was to be looked up to. He wanted us to be that nation that could help to bring the rest of the world up. He started with the space race. I mean, he did a lot of good shit. A lot of the policies he laid down were good. Now, was he perfect? No. But as I said, in today's world, he would be a Republican. He would not be a Democrat today.
Not in the least.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the last guy that I can think of who, him and his wife, tried to bring a sense of opulence to the office of the presidency of the United States. Jackie Kennedy was queenly in a way. She was very looked well upon. The press had really not a whole lot of bad things to say about her. The Italians built a one-off Cadillac for her. It was like their version of a Rolls Royce for her because they thought that she was like American royalty. Now, they weren't arrogant about it. She was very graceful, very eloquent, very soft-spoken, but she was respectable. And how many administrations after that can you say that's happened to? George W. Bush, not H.W. Bush, George W. Bush and his wife Laura, no matter how much shit they got, he was still a gritty, hard-nosed president who had to support the country after a tragic disaster, and his wife was still the soft-spoken, likable public educator, But what about before that? What about after that? There's nothing respectable before or after that.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, I was never. I get what you're saying. I was never a Bush fan, but him and in that I wasn't on their taint. Like
Me neither.
a
I was too young
Republican
for
with
that.
like a lot of
But even I
Republican
saw
stuff
it.
there. But I do not think he was a horrible president. Many people do. I certainly can find many, many flaws in the man, and I think part of this is just because look at the last 8 years, look at what we're dealing with now. He was not as bad as we all thought he was back then.
I miss him. I miss George W.
No
over
shit, I do
Obama
too.
any day.
Honestly,
Because
in the light
George
of the
W.
last
and the
7
Republicans were the
years-
ones that said, no, we're not reinstituting the assault weapons ban, no matter how bad the Democrats wanted to.
Yeah, it was.
So you have to give him that at least. Granted, he was a C-grade student, but it was probably the time we needed a C-grade student as the president.
He, for all his flaws, I mean, just look at it. Look at what we've dealt with for the last 7 years, and look at what we have to choose from going into the next 4. I would gladly have Bush back, gladly. And I was not a fan. I can say, however, that in his personal life, and if you look at him, just barring that, well, he just and I mean from living in Texas and all that kind of shit. I mean, I don't think he was a bad guy. I think he was just a dude dealing with a
really shitty situation.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, he genuinely did. I genuinely think that Bush was a good guy. That he was not one of these people that was. Now Cheney and a lot of the other people he surrounded himself with a different story. But I don't think Bush was one of these, conspiratorial. I'm just trying to gain all the money and power in the world and all this kind of stuff. And obviously there's always an aspect of that if anybody wants to run for president. But I just think he was a dude who came from a family where it was expected. He, found himself owning the Texas Ranger and governor of the, this huge state and all this other stuff. And it was just naturally, and he screwed some shit up doing it too. He screwed some shit up as the president, but I never felt like he was a bad guy. You know what I mean? I never felt like, oh, this dude's just evil. Like, I could never understand people like, oh, look at him, it's Nazi Bush, and he's as bad as Hitler, and he's evil, and all the signs they would carry around about him all the time. And I was like, I don't feel like that.
There's no job that can prepare you to be president of the United States.
I don't feel like he was a bad dude. I do feel like he surrounded himself with some bad people. Cheney was an evil motherfucker. You know what I mean? There's some truly bad people that were around him.
His best friend in the face.
No shit. But, yeah, I would gladly take Bush back, man. Absolutely. I mean, was he perfect? No, but God, after the last 7 years, whew. I would kiss his ass.
Carlos was asking in the chat, he says, what does opulence have to do with how well somebody runs the country? And to be perfectly honest and perfectly fair, I understand your question. The only thing I'm saying is in respect to the office, I'd rather have a presidential couple be opulent, to be, they're supposed to represent the nation, the best of the nation. So if you are graceful, you are opulent, you are educated, and you're well-spoken, and you don't come off like a radical, I would much rather have a couple in the office that respects the office than to have some cross-dressing transsexual bitch in the office say, this house was built by slaves.
Yeah.
That is not respectful to the office of the presidency, to say something that absurd.
No, they don't care. And
they don't.
Genuinely, she does not care. And that's one of the things about Obama and Michelle. I feel like she's more of an ideologue than he is. You know what I mean? I feel like he's in a position where he's following a script. You know what I mean? Like this is how he was raised. This is how he was told to handle things. He was told you're going to go to law school here, then you're going to go do this, then you're going to do this, then you're going to go be a senator. And as he's gone through his life being told by people that were grooming him or whatever, this is what you do, this is how you react, these are the ideologies you need to have. Whereas with her, I feel like it wasn't grooming for her. This is what she believes. Like, this is the core of her being. You know what I mean? She is that Marxist fucking race baiting.
The world owes me
piece of shit. You know what I mean? That's her. Like, Obama, he's a product of his environment and the people around him. Her, that's just who she is, man. You know what I mean? Like, I really get that feeling. The more you hear her talk, if you you can listen to them talk about the exact same thing, and you can hear the anger and conviction in her voice, whereas to him, he says it really well. He says it very eloquently. You can tell he knows exactly what to say and when to say it and how to say it, but he doesn't have that. There's that something in her voice.
Well, credit where it's due to him. If anything, the one thing of the Obama legacy I will accept and I will concede to is he is a fantastic orator. He is so good at public speaking. Granted, it's on teleprompters most of the time.
Well, yeah.
But he is a master of public speaking. Whether or not he believes his message or it is his message, he is one of the best public speakers of our time. I will give him that. I don't agree with him, but he is good at what he does.
Yeah, and that's again, that goes back to grooming. That's how he was groomed his entire life.
Yes.
You know, so.
I mean, I admire him as a public speaker. I cannot deny that. He is a great public speaker. When everything's prepared and put in front of him, he can sell ice cubes to Eskimos.
Oh, absolutely.
No doubt.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that Eskimos want ice cubes. And the country does not want what he's selling. But he's so good at convincing you that you want to buy this.
Yep.
Or at least in his party, he's so good at convincing you that this is what you want. You want $22 trillion in debt. You want 1/3 of the nation out of work. You want me to tell you that I created 32,000 jobs, but for every job created, 8,000 other people are no longer eligible for unemployment because they've been out of work for so long. He doesn't want you to know that, but he'll sell it to you anyway, and those people will buy it.
Yep.
Okay, well, we got some questions here that I want to get to, so
We have
why don't
stalled 42 minutes, so now you can finally get to Q&A and fill the hour.
we can finally get to
we
Q&A.
can save the questions for the hit or miss chat later on. This is the Guns and Geeks podcast. So let's-
Are we
man.
merging them to make, one giant, league of
We've
podcasts?
taken over because I didn't get a link yesterday.
Wait. We're creating the League of Extraordinarily Gun Podcasts. That's what.
There it is.
All right.
I know
Alex
what the
G.
problem is. I know what the problem is, Knight. We haven't started hit or miss yet. So you're getting ready for questions.
Oh, yeah.
Now we can start our show and
There you
take it
go.
back.
Oh, we're
I'm
totally.
sorry, I was
doing
not here right at the
things
beginning to keep things on track.
I used Matt's intro at the beginning.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for popping in, Smegs. All right. Here we got some questions. Nathan, are you there? We got a question for you.
Okay.
Okay. The question
Better not be
is.
about a teddy bear.
No, we're not. We're never telling that joke on air. We'll get in so much shit trouble for that. More than you get in trouble for bashing Trump.
Oh, I
Yep.
forgot my screen here for the day. Go
Get
ahead.
taken off of YouTube for that shit.
Yeah. In a survival situation, Nathan, can someone eat one of your holsters to stay alive?
Oh.
It's leather.
I have heard of people boiling leather and eating leather from shoes and other things, so I'm going to say yes, but you won't be happy?
It's not a first choice, but it is a choice.
I mean, it might be better to eat grass or twigs or something. I don't know.
Well, that's the question that was asked, and I don't know whether I'm not going to even say who it was, but it was signed by anonymous. So
I will tell you this: my holsters do taste better with A1 sauce on them.
Oh, yeah. Maybe a little sriracha.
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely
All
bring
right.
condiments if you're going.
If you have A1 sauce, though, maybe just drink that and just skip the leather part.
I would say that your better option would be to pull your gun out of your holster, shoot the other person you're with, and eat them.
All right. We got another question here.
Don't do that. That's a joke.
This one comes from Tony. He's a new gun owner. He got a Glock 42 as a starting point. He's taking it to the range soon. How many rounds should he run through it to see if it's reliable and to break it in?
200 at least.
Yeah, at least 2 rounds. 1 for his carry and 1 just for the hell of it.
200 rounds, get everything nice and worn in, make sure you clean it really good, make sure
200
the
rounds
last
on a
15
Glock?
rounds. Yeah.
Fuck no.
That'll break the
If it was
frame.
1911, I'd say a couple hundred rounds on a Glock. I mean, to make sure it's
He's got to
make
know what
sure
self-defense
it's
ammo is going to
reliable.
feed.
to make sure it's reliable.
Sure.
Run one magazine through the gun with whatever ammo you're going to be carrying, and then if it didn't have any hiccups, it's reliable.
No, I would say at least one box of carry ammo, right? You get a box of 50, you shoot that up, and that, this is just speaking ammo-related stuff, because we all know the gun itself is probably going to be fine.
You got to know
that's what you're testing
make sure
for.
that yours is good.
Whatever your carry ammo is, because I'm assuming this is a carry gun if it's a Glock 42, you want to make sure that you run some ammo of your carry ammo through, and as long as it doesn't have any hiccups, you're good to go. But we've all of us in here have shot brand new striker-fired guns, whether it's Glocks or Rugers or Smith & Wessons, Springfields, whatever it is. Have you ever had one that didn't immediately have a problem if it was going to have a problem?
Yes.
Because I haven't.
PT 1911.
A what?
A Taurus PT. Is it a PT 1911? I think it's called.
That's what I said. I'm talking. I said a polymer striker-fired gun. I'm not talking about 1911s. I'm not talking about steel guns. I'm not talking about hammer-fired guns, but just a standard, simple striker-fired polymer gun. Again, whether you're,
I got the model wrong. It's a Taurus 9mm.
Taurus 9mm. Okay, well, first up, it's a Taurus.
Well, it wasn't mine. It's just it didn't start messing up until the second box of ammo.
The problem is it wasn't Matt's Taurus.
Wasn't
If you want to buy a
I
Taurus,
should have bought it
had
from you.
extremely good luck with.
Yes,
have
I should have bought
Matt buy
from you.
it, and then you buy it from him.
There it is.
Of
I'm
which
just gonna
Matt goes
disclose
on
this
and on
now.
about his AK-47 that's an IO Inc. one. Whenever I talk about getting an IO Inc. one, everyone gives me shit for it. So
I just want to
there
get
you
this
go.
out of the way now.
We don't give you shit. We're just trying to let you know that those
I
aren't
have
the
an
best
IO.
AKs.
I have an IO that I absolutely love. I've had it for 6 years now, and it runs like a fucking champ. I've shot the shit out of that damn thing. But if somebody comes up to me and asks, should I get an IO, I'm going to go, no, not for the money. For the money, there are other AKs I would recommend that you go get. I got lucky with mine. I'm not going to, you know what I mean? So
You get lucky with everything, though.
I really do.
Is Kiltech making an AK now?
But no, that just goes to show. I now own 2 Keltecs, and I fucking hate Keltecs. But I've got 2 Keltecs that run like a fucking champ.
One of them was a
Now-
1, and one of them wasn't your choice.
Well, one of them was my wife's. It was what she fucking wanted. And in her defense, that gun is a Gen 1 Keltec P32, so the damn thing's at least 15 years old. So it's had its break-in period. You know what I mean? So that's probably one thing about it. But yeah, I mean, and then I've got my sub 2000. But yeah, so
Well,
I get extremely lucky with guns. So
I just want to disclose 200 rounds for me is half a range session. So when I say 200 rounds, if it's a brand new gun, that is nothing to me. That's like 1 hour or 2 hours.
But you're talking about going and shooting it and practicing with it and getting some training in,
Right,
and
knowing
gun
what
versus
feeds, what
how
might have
many rounds
issues.
versus how many rounds do you need to shoot through it to ensure it's reliable. Now, those
Right.
are two different things. My recommendation is go to the range and shoot as much ammo as you can afford to shoot through it.
Yeah.
Get to know your gun, have fun, practice with it, all that kind of stuff. But how many of those rounds in a Glock 42 do you need to have shot through? Absolutely need to realize that it's reliable.
I'm convinced it's going to work. I've never owned a Glock, so I know they're reliable. It's just I never owned one, so I can't
They
say
are,
that.
and most. I mean, the design, the simple design of most modern striker-fired polymer guns is it. Usually, if you're going to have a problem, you're going to have it pretty quick. You know what I mean? If you've got extractor issues, if you've got feeding issues, whatever it may be, usually you're going to see those issues pretty quickly. That's just usually the nature of how that stuff goes. Now, that being said, shoot as much as you fucking want, but
Yeah.
On a Glock 42, I wouldn't say you have to go shoot 200 to 500
For a
rounds.
42, 4 boxes of 380, that's what, $30? That's, I think that's perfectly doable.
It is.
Well,
but it's-
are we talking carry ammo though? Because that's a little more expensive, isn't it?
All right,
I mean, I don't know
50
how much
bucks.
it is. But
50
Well,
bucks.
carry ammo. If you can run through a couple of magazines of carry ammo, and you don't have any hiccups or problems, and be assured that on little 380s, whether you're carrying Hornady or whatever, you're probably going to notice problems if you're going to have them, and your problems are probably going to revolve around feeding issues with hollow points more likely than anything else on these small little 380s.
Mhm.
And if you don't have that in the first couple magazines, you're good to go.
Yeah, I would agree to that. Sure. Next question.
Night Strike, you can proceed with your chat.
Well, I'm glad you guys are here because half of these questions, I wouldn't know where to begin. So.
I'm just not a Glock expert. I know they're reliable.
I'm not.
Everyone I know owns
either.
one. I enjoy
Just
firing.
no more questions about KMDs.
What the hell's that?
Cankles of mass destruction.
No, if anybody has any bullet button questions, please send them to us so we can have Heavy B answer them because he is the glorified California bullet button expert.
It's Friday
That's true.
nights with
And I can sum it up right now, so don't bother. Bullet buttons suck balls.
And Heavy B, I assume you are going to stay in California for the rest of your life?
No. I'm just, I'm waiting out the year. I got some shit to finish up, and then I'll be moving on.
We're going to start a Kickstarter to move him to Texas.
That's what I'm saying. We need to start a Patreon account to move Heavy, save Heavy from California.
Here's what I'm going for. I want to take an existing state, okay, that can be mecca for gun owners.
Wyoming,
right?
done.
No,
Okay.
Arizona.
No, I want to build it in Idaho. Okay? Idaho has, if you go across the board, man, I've done years of research on this shit, so I'm thinking about moving to Idaho in the next year or two. They have overall, between tax burden, gun laws, laws surrounding, like starting businesses, and just across the board, they are the best state to move to for people who truly are, gun, freedom, liberty, conservative-minded individuals. Across the board, Idaho is the place to go.
See, I thought Montana was one of the best for
It's
the government
pretty good
just
up
leaving
there.
you the fuck alone.
No,
It is pretty
Idaho
good up
has
there.
much better gun laws than Montana.
I'm going to start the Kingdom of Wyoming.
No, Wyoming. I checked into Wyoming, Montana. We looked at Nevada, Utah, Arizona, a lot of places, man. And hands down across the board, Idaho won every time.
It looks like we're just going to have to start the United States of the West.
Mm-hmm.
So what about, since you said Idaho, do they have any registration for potato guns?
No, not at all.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's important. If you're in Idaho, you better have a whole arsenal of potato
You
guns.
can even have a short-barreled potato gun with a stock.
Wait, can you have a silencer?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, of course.
Good. What's
Could you put a silencer on a potato gun? Because it's not a firearm, right?
Well, you could. I'm sure you could get away with it.
That would
You
be
can
Because I
own
know
a
all those
silencer,
air
you just can't
rifles
put
have
it on it.
integrated things.
Yeah.
that would be hashtag huge.
It would be huge.
Yep.
All right. If there's no more questions, I think we're just
You
about.
only had
Hashtag
one.
fuck that dude.
I only had 2 questions.
Dude.
No, it's hashtag
Oh, I should change
FTD.
it back to that one, huh? Hang on,
Yeah.
I got that one too.
I changed it to hashtag fuck that dude. Because FTD people are like, what, the floral guys? Well, you gotta let them know it's fuck that dude.
Yeah, I
Let
like
people in on the joke.
Oh,
Some people aren't in on the joke.
there you go.
When was that? That was last Wednesday, right?
Yep, I made this just for G-Webs.
I don't even remember what we were talking about. I just remember that.
It was because the whole fact where we were telling people that if they didn't like being in California, that they should go move to a gun-friendly
But
state.
it was something specific that pissed him off. Heavy, you would know because I think you're the one that said it.
Oh, yeah, it was me that said it. I said, because I remember I was emotional at the time. I'd just gotten the bad news. Thank you, Night Strike.
I'm sorry.
And,
We were drinking heavily
You
that
know-
night.
well, I wasn't drinking heavily that night. But,
But you wanted to.
G-Webs kept trying, give his point of view about staying and fighting. And, okay, I can see that. But at the time, I was like, it's really easy for you to say that sitting in a free state. It's like, go sacrifice yourself. Go on, go sacrifice yourself while I sit back here where I'm nice and safe. And that pissed him off.
Okay.
And so-
I couldn't remember exactly what it was, but it was. I just remember him going off because once he said that, it was. Then it
Hilarity
became.
ensued.
Then it was.
Well,
then
and
it
then-
just turned into a laughing matter at that point.
I will say right now that I was way out of line when I said that. But, hey.
Well,
You
here's
made
the
it
thing.
through.
Here's the thing about that particular thing in general. I don't. I think you and G-Webs were both like getting defensive and pissed off. But as I said that night, I side with you. I don't think the point you were trying to make, I think, stayed the same. Like, it's one of those things. It is, and even for me from Texas, because I've done this too. I think. I sometimes you look at things and I could look at somebody who may live in a state that doesn't have the laws that I have here, it can be easy for me to just kind of judge things and say, well, people should do this or should do this when I'm not the one that has to live there. So, again, I'm not trying to stir up old shit. I'm just saying, it can be one of those situations where, I mean, you had a reason to say what you said. So did he, but it makes sense. I mean, it's hard for somebody who doesn't live in a very restrictive area like that to tell somebody else who does what they should or shouldn't do. Whether you fall on the side that I do, or whether you fall on the side G-Webs does. It's hard for us to say what somebody in your position should do because you're the one that has to live there and has to deal with it. We can make suggestions. We can tell you what we see from the outside.
You have to make your own decisions.
But it's our opinion is not as important as yours because you're the one that has to live there and deal with it.
G went nuclear because his state was a state like that, and they fought and they won.
Which is awesome.
Arizona has never been nearly as bad as California.
Right, but I mean, they had laws that they reversed. They fought, they won, it was done, it was over. Me and Matt as Texans, we never had to fight those things. So
we had to deal with the assault weapons ban like everybody did. But
then,
you guys are still fighting for constitutional carry, right?
Yeah,
yes,
we're still fighting for constitutional carry.
I'm still fighting for open carry in South Carolina.
Yeah. But I mean, Texas was also we were the second state to get concealed carry after Florida, which was back in like the 90s. I mean, we've always been fairly pro-gun. The open carry thing is just kind of one of these fluke things that happened. It was an old law that had been on the books since the late 1800s, early 1900s that, you can't open carry a gun as Texas was growing. Mm-hmm. And in some of the major cities, and so it just kind of became a law that got passed. They're like, you can carry long guns, no big deal, but you can't carry a handgun around open carry.
The thing is,
for whatever reason, back then, they thought that was the way to go.
Down here, to me, it was a comfort issue. Like, I can't conceal carry my freaking night guard, I can shoulder holster it perfectly, comfortable, everything. And if it flashes out in the open, it happens. I think the reason that it finally made it through here was because there are just some firearms that are viable carry guns that just don't tuck well, and we just want to be. I think Yankee coined this term beautifully. He called it obvious carry. It's not concealed. It's not blatantly ta-da open. It's I drape my shirt over my stuff, and you. But
it's obvious you got something there.
Right, and you know what? That's perfectly fine with me because in the winter, when I carry my Alaskan, it's big, it's thick, it's heavy, it's not going inside the waistband. Just deal with it.
You have a winter in Houston?
No, but I mean, I don't spend all my time in Houston. I actually frequent Denali, every other year or so. So I just get used to carrying that before I leave, and then I go up north, and I have it with me in a shoulder rig. And when I come back south, it's in, my hip holster. So it's just, there it is, deal with it, I'm cool with that.
And that's the thing. I mean, Texas is still fighting for stuff. Everybody's still, all the states are still fighting for shit. You know what I mean? Some states are better than others. Some states are worse than others. California is just royally fucked right now, and it's going to take damn near an act of God to get shit straight. And that's not to say you people should give up, but it is to say that.
Does Clint Eastwood still live in California where he was once mayor?
He moved to Indiana.
Did he?
He hasn't lived there in a while.
Because
I think he still owns property there.
Right, because I always wondered. I said, for a guy who's so pro 2A, you would think that he would have a bigger following there.
He needs to be the next NRA president.
He should have been before Wayne LaPierre.
Because
what the fuck is in Indiana? Does anybody live in Indiana? Tell me why he moved to Indiana.
Land laws are better than California's?
Well, yeah, but all the laws are better than... Every state has better laws than California. I'm just wondering why he picked Indiana.
Hawaii's laws are better than
Indiana's got open carry. Like, you know, I'm just curious. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know shit about Indiana.
Maybe he's lived there before, or maybe he had friends or family that lived there before, and he wanted to go.
Maybe he's
live
originally
there.
from Indiana.
Maybe.
Know where the hell he's from? I
Does
don't know.
not seem likely.
I don't know. Who knows, man?
Maybe he
maybe
found a
he
nice
should
town
have.
he liked that he wanted to buy a house in. Who knows?
He was born in San Francisco.
Is there in Indiana a Madison County, and do they have bridges?
Oh God.
I'm just curious.
I
Anybody
don't know. I don't know.
Okay. It could be a thing. I don't know. Come on, Nice Strike, say it. I'll give you permission. I won't charge you.
All right. On that note.
There we go.
Oh wait, are we closing out?
But I'll charge him because I need the money. It'll help my Patreon account to get me out of California.
Are we closing out already?
Yeah, we're starting to close out, but I'm gonna,
All right, I have something to close with. It's not racist, it's not sexist, but I heard it this morning and I thought it was really clever.
Point?
Well, it's sort of sexist, I guess. It's slightly sexist, depending on your.
We need a stone guy comment. Come on.
All right.
Is it sexy? Is it sexist light?
It's sexist light. Okay, so I was listening to the radio this morning in my local talk show, and they had this like lightning round where they said nuggets of wisdom that you received when you graduated, whether it be school, college, military, whatever. And this guy called in today, and he said, I graduated from the U.S. Army Academy, and my drill sergeant told me as I was crossing the stage, and he shook my hand, he goes, remember, son, breasts are like martinis. One ain't enough, and three are too many.
Okay, now it's on that note.
Well, on that note, I want to thank my panelists for showing up, Heavy B.
Thank you for having me.
You got anything you want to plug?
Friday Night Sights, not this Friday, but the following Friday. Every other Friday.
And we are going to change the name of your channel from Heavy B to Friday Night Sights, right?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Because I guess it doesn't make sense to be Heavy B on the Heavy B channel doing Friday Night Sights.
I'm going to make a meme just for your Friday show. I'll be there.
Okay.
Oh, outstanding.
All right. And Matt, Never Enough Ammo, thank you for showing up, once in a blue moon.
Yeah, no problem. Just want to let everybody know out there that Guns and Geeks has officially acquired Hit or Miss. I paid Smeggy $2 for his stake in the company, and
I did your
now
intro today.
I have full ownership. So
You have controlling interests of the board, huh?
yeah,
You're officially Matt's bitch.
Oh, God. Save me, God. Save me.
Look, I mean, hey, Knight, you've been Matt's bitch for a while. Now it's just official.
Well, Heavy, Heavy HBS is back, so once he starts doing lock and load,
Are you going to be his bitch, too?
No, I'm like Smeggy. I join all the chats.
Is Hawaii
okay.
back?
Hawaii.
He is, yeah, he's back at his house. He's waiting to get his internet online, so...
Hey.
No, his internet is online. He's just downloading Windows updates. Otherwise, he would have been here by now.
Nice. That's
Oh,
all.
okay. Still
He's
computer
doing good.
bullshit.
He's finally recuperated and healthy again, but he says he can't eat pizza or any of the good stuff anymore. He has to just eat all the healthy stuff because he can't have.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to die.
Yeah. All right, Sean. Thanks for showing up.
Appreciate the time.
And
People-
last but not least, saving the best for last, Smeggy. Thank you for attending.
Yep. Sorry, I was a little late, and I just want to say I sold my shares in Hit or Miss because there was a hostile takeover threatened on We Like Shooting. Sean from We Like Shooting joined the lobby chat, and then somehow someone said that he was going to be the new host of Hit or Miss, so I figured I might as well get something out of it before I got kicked out.
Yeah, so pretty much you just said, hey, nice strike. Whoa, you're on your own.
And the funny thing is, it's on my YouTube channel, and I'm the one who started this and brought people in to help me with it. And then, people are just taken out from under me, and I haven't even gotten, the last word.
That's what you get for public trading.
That's a hostile takeover, man. Don't you get it?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'll keep showing up till I get kicked out, but I'm pretty sure if Sean from We Like Shooting shows up, no one's going to want to hear me talk.
All I got to say, Matt, is you better hide that orange Oompa Loompa, or otherwise I will shave that off. And on that note, this was Hit or Miss. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching if you're watching it later. And
keep the cankles of mass destruction out of Washington, D.C.
And remember to visit gunchannels.com. If you're not a member already, go to gunchannels.com, sign up, be part of the conversation.
It's free.
It's free. You can join the chats. You know, you might even be able to get in the match chat or Hit or Miss. Who knows? But
if he
You
gives
got a
you a
better
link,
chance of getting into Hit or Miss, but that's okay.
Do you mean Never in a Family Part 2?
But on that note, this was Hit or Miss. Thanks for watching.